You know, we don't know who's going to be the OC yet, but definitely going to be some changes. We have to change. We just won. Everybody has a film on us,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
we got to adapt. So we're not afraid of that. We've been doing that each and every year, but this time it may have to be a little more drastically.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the game. It's a part. That's what we do it for.
So he said the offense this year or next year in 2025 has to change more drastically than it has before. And I agree with him. We won the Super Bowl this way, for sure. And I think part of the reason that the offense needs to change drastically is what he said, is that when you are the big dog, when you beat everyone the way that you beat them, everyone's going to be studying ways to beat you, right? And I think to an extent, the offense has been pretty similar for 3 consecutive years, right? This is just the first year they ended up winning a Super Bowl with it, and it was the first year they had Saquon. I think the second reason is that we have to be honest. We love Saquon. We love Saquon Barkley. But I think we have to be honest about what we can expect from Saquon Barkley next year. And I'm not trying to wish something into the world. I'm just trying to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Saquon had 507 touches.
That's a lot.
This year, 507. And I went through, and this is only a few of them. And it's not every one. But I went through all of the running backs who had a combined 400 or more touches in a season, regular season and playoffs. And 70% of them the next year is not good. You have Natron Means in 94 was injured all year the next year.
Oh, man, Natron.
Terrell Davis tore his ACL the next year.
TD.
Jamal Anderson tore his ACL the next year. Edgar and James tore his ACL 2 seasons later. Sean Alexander in 05 broke his foot the next year. Larry Johnson in 06 was injured most of the next year. Michael Turner in 08 ended up with just 178 touches. We know about DeMarco Murray. We know about Christian McCaffrey. The truth is that the way that we won games this year is not – we're not going to be able to do it again. So not only are we going to have to throw the ball more effectively, I actually think they're going to have to start thinking about, do we get a back to split carries to a certain extent with Saquon? And I think they did it this year, and we assume they'll have a good defense next year. But I do agree with A.J. Brown that the offense is going to have to change drastically next year.
Yeah, I don't know what drastically means, right? It sounds like a complete 180 or something where you're just going away from what made you successful this year. I do understand those numbers. Those numbers concern me as well when it comes to Saquon. Having someone else to be able to shoulder the running back load next year certainly going to be or should be a priority. I don't know if that's getting somebody in the draft. Listen, I'm excited about Will Shipley. He's going to be an exciting white.
He will.
But he hasn't done it yet, and so we don't know what his workload would look like next year. Is he ready to take on sort of that workload that Kenny Gainwell had during his career here? And, yes, the passing game is going to have to be a little more prominent when it comes to play calling. But I'll ask this. I'm not sure how many Super Bowl champions change their offense or defense drastically the following year. When something has worked for you as a formula, you don't usually completely deviate from what made you successful the year before. So, when the Cowboys were running with Emmitt Smith, they didn't all of a sudden try to turn Troy Aikman into John Elway or Dan Marino. They just continue to win the same way they had been winning by giving the ball to Emmitt Smith. Now, granted, Emmitt was younger, so that makes a huge difference.
Yep.
I understand that.
It was the first part of Emmitt's career, not the end of Emmitt's
Yes, it was
career.
on Emmitt's rookie contract,
right.
as a matter of fact.
Yep.
So, I completely understand that. And that's why I understand they're wanting to preserve Saquon or finding an alternative to Saquon is certainly a priority for this offense next year. I agree with that. And I think some of that is by way of throwing the ball. But here's what I'll tell you. While I believe Jalen can get back to being 2022 Jalen throwing the football, I'd rather see that version of my offense. In other words, Jalen threw the ball, and they threw it effectively enough to the tune, I think he threw for like 245 yards per game. He had 2 receivers over 1,000 yards. Your tight end had 700 and something yards. But your running game was by committee. It was Miles Sanders, It was Jalen. I forget who the hell else was our backup with Miles Sanders being here.
I can't remember.
Who the hell was our backup? Was it Kenny Gainwell? It might have been Gainwell.
It could have been.
Yeah, it might have been Gainwell.
Yeah, he's been in his whole rookie
Oh, you know what? It
contract,
was
right?
Gainwell because Gainwell was the running back in the playoffs that year.
Oh, right, because
Yeah.
Sanders, there was no Sanders in the Super Bowl. Really.
Yeah,
It was
basically
just-
after the first carry, he was
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
So to me, I would look at our offense trying to be effective that way versus a drastic change to the offense. Now, I don't know what age. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thank you. That's going to be all day. They
Yep.
just started.
Yep.
They just
Nobody
started.
works
Yes.
on Fridays anymore. Yep.
So, I can't even get my thought out. I don't know exactly what the picture of drastic change means in AJ's mind or in your mind for that matter. I'm just saying, for me, if we can get the offense back to 2022, well, we may not lean on Saquon as much, but I'll take 1,300 yards out of Saquon next year rushing.
Yeah.
You give me a couple hundred, 200-300 receiving. I'll take that from Saquon next year.
215-592-9494. A.J. Brown says the Eagles' offense needs to drastically change next year. Do you agree? Here's the thing that is scary, and I'll tell you what I mean when I say drastic.
Yeah.
Is that we would say that 20 touches a game for Saquon is a significant decrease from this year, right?
What did he have this year?
He had 507 touches in 20 games, so that's more than 25. It's 25 and a half touches a game.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, if you play 20 games in a year, which Saquon did, that's 400 touches again. Yeah. Right? So to me, you can't count on that. And the reason that I would go into the year preparing to be drastically different, and I'm not saying throw it 40 times. I don't want to be a primarily passing offense, but we ran the ball 59% of the time. I think that's got to be closer to 52 or 51, and that means Jalen throwing the ball 30 times a game and not 18 times a game. And the reason I think you have to prepare for that is that if we go into next year assuming that we're going to do the same thing that we've done for the last 3 years, and it doesn't work, then we are screwed. You can always go backwards. And I think Doug sort of showed that, during his tenure. You can always sort of can adjust on the fly to what you did. They did it this year. They adjusted on the fly. It didn't work. But I think Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni have to go into next year with a new plan. And I don't think 2022 is a plan we can think about, because that is on tape too. I think we need to evolve. I think this is a way that Jalen needs to evolve into the next level of his career, into truly being an elite quarterback. I think it's a way the team needs to evolve. And you know this, the NFL is a league of adjustments, and eventually they will adjust to you. And I'm worried about the league adjusting to the Eagles too. And the only other thing I'd say about Saquon, and I'm not truly not trying to bum people out, but even when you look at the 2,000-yard rushers, Dickerson the next year 1,200, Peterson the next year 1,200, Jamal Lewis 1,000, Derrick Henry 900, Terrell Davis 200. You know what I mean? We love Saquon, but we absolutely cannot lean on him next year the way that we leaned on him this year.
Well, one thing I would tell you though, he's a different runner than some of those guys.
He is.
Some of those guys were bruising backs.
Yep.
Jamal Anderson, Jamal Lewis. TD wasn't a bruising back, but TD took on contact. Eric Dickerson was more of a sprinter type of a running back, so he didn't take on a ton of contact. But would you say
Adrian Peterson is the most similar to the guys we're thinking about? Yeah.
Well, hell, Adrian Peterson, that dude was the bruiser.
Right. Yeah.
That dude was looking for contact.
Yes, absolutely.
But Saquon, I'm telling you, it's like, why they don't do it when you start talking? It seems like when I start talking.
You get everyone eagled up. That's why.
But I could be wrong, but it seems like Saquon never really took on big hits this year. He seemed to be untouched a lot. And with this offensive line, which is why when I switched my free agent rankings order earlier this week, I went back to Becton being number 2 on my list.
Behind Bond.
With Zach Bond at number 1. You keep this offensive line intact. I'm not saying lean on Saquon with as many overall touches as we did this past year, But I think you can get close to 300, 380 touches with Saquon and still be okay and keep him fresh for the postseason. They have to come up. See, here's the thing I'm thinking about with Saquon this year. They have to have one of these rest and recovery plans for Saquon through the first 6 weeks of the season. I wouldn't even lean on Saquon early in the season.
Start him off slow instead of starting
You
him
want to
off.
get him ready for November, December, and January.
Right.
Right? We shouldn't have to give Saquon the ball 25, 30 times in the beginning of the year.
No, absolutely not.
He wouldn't touch the field in preseason. That's already a given. He's not going to play in a preseason game. I monitor his touches and workload in training camp, and then I slowly ease him in to get him ready when October rolls around. That mid-October is when now it becomes the Saquon Barkley show. And they got to be able to do that. So that's on the team to sort of have this sort of plan in place that Saquon is stronger late in the season versus relying on him heavy in the beginning, which may mean you need to rely on Jalen in the passing game more.
Throw the ball. Throw the ball. He showed he can do it. Let's keep doing it.
2022, I'm going to give you some numbers on 2022 you may like.
Okay. Oh, is that you're holding that for a minute. You'll give it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it to you later. Yeah, I'll give it to you later. 215. Call that a tease in the business.
215-592-9494. A.J. Brown says the Eagles' offense needs to change drastically next year. I agree.
Louder.
Ike does not. Oh, goodness. 80 Eagles, 5. All right. We do have a next question today, Ike.
What we got, bro?
All right. So the winner of next question today gets a $150 gift card for Wild Fork Foods. Wild Fork Foods is your number one choice for high-quality meats and seafood without breaking the bank. Over 700 items in store and online. Find Philadelphia area locations at wildforkfoods.com or shop online and get same-day shipping. On this day in 1948... But they started drinking early. There's no way they're lasting past 3 o'clock, to be honest with you. On this day in 1948, NASCAR was founded. And NASCAR is something that is
a great sport.
Is very popular that I don't get.
Not athletes, but great sport.
We have to be athletic.
What do you mean? It's a car.
But it's a grind.
Well, what type of athleticism is a NASCAR driver?
Strength and endurance. Look,
it's not athleticism.
I think it is a little bit. They're more of athletes than golfers.
I knew you were getting ready to say that.
Well, it's true.
I knew you were getting ready to say that.
It's
Listen,
true.
Everybody can't sit in a 200-degree car. I know that.
Yes, that's true.
Going around a track.
Yep.
100 times or however many times they do.
Yep.
But come on, man. The car doing the work.
Car's doing a lot of the
work.
work.
Like a damn jockey being an athlete.
Yeah, they're not athletes. But I will take a NASCAR driver.
The horse is the athlete.
But so for next question today, NASCAR is a popular thing that I don't get.
Yes.
So for next question today, you'll call up with your sports point, but we will ask you, what is something popular that you don't get? Ike, what is something popular that you just don't get?
Popular that I just don't get.
Do you want me to give you mine?
Yeah.
Springsteen.
Oh, you go.
Dude, I don't get it at all.
You don't like Springsteen?
I don't like Springsteen. Like
man, that's our childhood.
3.5-hour concerts and like none of the songs are really all that good. Like everybody here loves Springsteen and it drives them crazy. I don't get it. Not only do I not like it, I actually Taylor Swift I don't like, but I get it. Right?
No, I don't get why you don't like Taylor Swift.
I just don't like it. She seems fake. But Springsteen I don't even get. So
right.
Springsteen is something that is popular that I don't get.
So here's the thing that I've never really gotten.
Okay.
And it's a genre of movie.
Okay.
And it's the whole Sword and the Sorcerers.
That like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Harry Potter.
I've never been into any of that stuff, man.
For dorks. Dungeons and Dragons
yes.
stuff. Grow up. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I've never. Did you say the one? What's the one that was on HBO?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Don't get it.
Never seen an episode.
Don't get it. Don't get it. I don't know who anybody is. I don't know what they're saying. All right.
Yeah.
215
medieval times is that, or is that what would that be?
Well, I think Game of Thrones is supposed to happen like in an alternate universe or something.
Oh, so that's not even. Okay. So it's not even real.
No. Game of Thrones is not real.
Oh, I thought it was something that was ancient times.
No.
Yeah.
I think there's dragons and stuff in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. 215.
Dragons are real, right?
Dragons are real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some dragons.
I've never seen a Komodo dragon breathe fire.
No, I don't think they actually breathe fire. I don't think. I guess I could be. I'll check Twitter. I'm sure there's 8 people telling me that.
I don't want to. I had a thing with dinosaurs years ago.
Oh, I remember that. Do you know I've come to your side a little bit on that? We won't talk about that today, but I've thought about that a long time because I thought you were crazy at that point. And I'm just like, well, all right. Does the Eagles' offense need to change drastically?